Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome back to part 2 of the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree full playthrough walkthrough. If you've never joined me for these types of walkthroughs before, this is a Let's Play style walkthrough where I play the game and talk over it and do everything kind of live. So it's unedited. There will be deaths. I will not edit out those deaths unless they get super crazy, like I'm dying like 20-30 times. But for the most part, it's completely unedited. In this section of the walkthrough, we are going to go through the northern area of Gravesite Plain, basically this area here that I'm circling. There is a sort of dungeon here, which is called the Belurat Jail, and that dungeon is pretty long, so I think we're just going to cover this northern section. I anticipate this being, all told, maybe like 45 minutes to an hour. In the next section of the walkthrough, we'll cover the eastern side of Gravesite Plain, basically do everything else except for Castle Onze here. Okay, so I'll show you my character. We haven't really leveled up much in the first part. Level 179 with a level 3 Shadow Tree Blessing, level 1 Revered Spirit Ash Blessing, and those are my stats. Currently using a Rivers of Blood plus 10, and then I have a Sacred Uchi Katana plus 25, which is going to come in handy in this part of the walkthrough. Okay, so we did get some more fragments in towards the end of the last walkthrough, so let's go ahead and level up our Revered Spirit Ash Blessing to level 2. And then let's take a quick shortcut and go to 3-Path Cross. Actually, sorry, there is... let's go to Scorched Ruins, because we got to get a painting. We cannot solve this painting yet, but I do want to get it. And that painting is going to be in a cave to the east. So if we come right over here, there's a cave opening, and the painting is just inside. Right here. So I'll show it to you on the map. It's right here on this eastern ridge, just outside of the Scorched Ruins. And this painting is called the Sacred Tower. We can't get this painting for a while. It may look like, you know, the solution is kind of like right in front of us, but it's not. The solution is actually up on this hill here, which we can't get to until we get into this area. So we got quite a while before we can get that one, but I did want to get the painting before moving on because it is technically part of Gravesite Plain. Okay, so let's head to the north, and there's quite a bit to do to the north. So we've already been over here. That's where the backhand blade was. Then let's continue on this way. There's quite a lot of pop-in in the DLC area. There's so much terrain detail that it does pop in quite a lot, which can be a little frustrating, but what are you going to do? It's beautiful enough to look at that it's not that big of a deal. Let's knock out these death birds really quick. And there's a treasure right here. Some level 3 Grave Glovewort. All right, so we have this bridge here. This is Elak Bridge. We're not going to cross this bridge in this section of the walkthrough, but I did just want to draw attention to it because you'll notice in the distance there a big building. Let me just kill these death birds this way they don't bother us while I'm trying to drop the knowledge on you. Okay, so this bridge is called Elak Bridge. This bridge leads to this building here. This is Castle Onze. It is a legacy dungeon. Quite a good one at that. It's a lot of fun. But this giant building here, dead center, just under the Shadow Tree, is Shadow Keep. Shadow Keep is sort of like the central legacy dungeon in this game, or in this DLC expansion. You're going to be there quite a lot, and it's sort of like always visible. All right, so with that said, let's head back towards 3-Path Cross, but instead we're just going to go to the north instead of going through that archway, which we did in the previous section of the walkthrough. So we'll find the road here, and then this goes over the bridge, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go along this road here. And there's going to be this sort of group of folks wandering towards the village. Hello? Thank you. Okay. And there's going to be some dogs on the road here chewing up a corpse. You don't really have to kill these dogs, but I like to, just so they don't bother us later. Okay. And then these guys are wandering towards this village as well. I do like killing these guys just because they tend to drop Rata Fruit, which is always helpful. All right. Cool. So here we are at this next site of Grace here. This is the Greatbridge North side of Grace. We just rest here to restore our flasks and then get going into the village. So inside of this village, we have these man-fly enemies, which are kind of gross, but also kind of cool. This ghost says, "Oh, how it hurts from very tip to toe. Help me, I must ask, am I human still? Is that the reason I yet suffer so?" So basically, the shadow villagers that you kind of come across all the time, like the packs of people that we were just killing, they can sort of go through these transformations. It's a little unclear what exactly is causing it. It might just be like the drops of the shadow tree that caused this. I believe the horn scent also turned into this. But there's not like a ton of lore on the man-flies. But if you know, please feel free to leave a comment. I always do love discussing lore with people. Let's go into this house, and there's a treasure in here. Nice broken rune. And we'll go further up the hill. Yeah, so kill the shadow villager because he can buff these guys, and you don't want that to happen to you. Ooh, a grab. Whenever you're getting grabbed in a Souls game, mash L1 and R1, and you will break the grab faster, and you will often be put in a position where you are not at so much of a disadvantage while you're sort of recovering. Okay, so nothing in this building. Alright, so we get the Ailment Talisman. The Ailment Talisman reads, a talisman depicting a soul taken by sickness. When certain ailments are triggered, this talisman grants resistance to the same ailment. When the weak were infected with the dreaded fly sickness, they perished well before the metamorphosis could take hold. Oddly, those who cared for the infected made certain they were given a proper burial were never afflicted themselves. So it's likely they were using this talisman when burying the folks who were afflicted. This way they themselves did not get afflicted. Okay, so just want to see if we can see a particular fort from here, because then I want to explain how to get to it, but if it's not here, that's okay. Okay, it's not. No worries. There's a fort that took me a long time to figure out how to enter, but I'll explain it when we get there. It's actually on it's in another zone, but I wasn't sure if it was viewable from here. Okay. I do want to mention this ridgeline here. So you can see some barricades over here just across the Elac Bridge. However, this mountain right here is this mountain is reached by this side and can't be reached until you get into a completely different zone. So don't worry about trying to reach that mountain. That is where that painting solution is, but we can't do anything about it yet. All right, let's come over here. There's one more building for this village just over here. We get the Greater Potentate's Cookbook number 10, which teaches us how to craft hefty fly pots. What do hefty fly pots do exactly? Albinoric. Where are they? Hefty fly pot. Oh, it's blood flies. The maggots found in waste feed on blood and turn into vicious flies that are pitiably short-lived. So it's for flies that stack blood, kind of similar to what the Blood Knights do. All right. So now that we've done that, let's continue this way. And we're basically just going to like circle around a pond here. And we want to get to this grave over here. There is a boss in this pond that we will fight in a few minutes. But I did just want to come over here. So let's Oh, we need a bow. I just want to pull these guys out. Weird that I never got the compound bow on this character. Okay, okay, there we go. Here he comes. So this is going to aggro the third one, but I'm okay with that because this one's going to die. Hello? Okay, its AI has not woken up yet. Very good. Okay, here to sell the smithing stone, as well as the Gravebird Armor. They're Gravebirds, not Deathbirds. I knew I was using the wrong name. Anyway, Gravebird Armor. Stone armor with a tinge of green, one of a set of armor pieces cast in the image of the Gravebird. Gravebirds are ancient golems created to guard the spirit graves, built where all manners of death ultimately drift. So, Gravebirds protect the graves. All right. So now it's time to fight the boss of this pond, which is a Ghostflame Drake, or dragon. Recommend taking out a sacred weapon, and then what we're going to do is we're going to rush this boss, and then immediately use Sacred Blade to wake it up. I don't even think that hit. But you can see we're dealing some good damage to this thing. And then you just want to get back on Torrent and more or less fight it like a normal dragon boss that you've already fought a million times. The first time you encounter this thing, it's going to like wake up and roar, so that can be used to our advantage. Drake bosses in the Realm of Shadow have different breathing patterns, so you really got to watch out for where their head is facing. They can sort of weave their breath back and forth. Ooh, was not expecting that attack. Whenever it stomps, be careful of the Ghost Flame that will come out of it. And then whenever you see the Ghost Flame emitting from the middle, get out. Use this as an opportunity to rebuff your weapon. And then go right back in. Yeah, didn't do any damage to it there. Can wait for it to turn around. Sometimes it does the tail swipe turn around. It's not doing it this time. That's nice. Oh my god. Oh, wow. This is good for us. We're going to lose the Sacred Blade buff here in a second. Yep. Okay, I'm going to rebuff. And then it's probably going to do a Wing Smash here. Called that. Oof, just got out of that. Not good. Go back in really quick. Got him. Okay, that's the Ghost Flame Dragon. Again, Sacred Blade is really, really helpful in the DLC. If you didn't get it in your original playthrough, I did this in the previous section of the walkthrough, but go back to Limgrave, go to the Third Church of Marika, which is where you first pick up the Flask of Wondrous Physic, and then there's going to be a scarab literally like right here. Kill it, and you get the Sacred Blade, Ash of War. All right, so we get a Dragon Heart and a Somber Ancient Smithing Dragonstone, but this boss was actually guarding a treasure right here. So this is the Great Katana, which is a new weapon type. Large katana with a long, heavy blade, a weapon unique to the warriors of the Land of Reeds. Designed for aggression, this armament requires the wielder to throw their entire body into swinging it. The slashing attacks of its honed edge incite blood loss. So this is basically just a really big katana. So if we go to Order of Acquisition, we go to do it down here. So this scales with both Strength and Dex. It has a 14 Strength requirement and an 18 Dex requirement. And basically, it looks like... Oh, hello, hello, hello. It looks like this. So it's a really big sword with big swings. I think it's primarily meant to be used two-handed, but it has some awesome, awesome attacks. So that's the R1, or that's the R2, which you can then put into an R1. You just do a quick R2 into an R1. You do that stab. If you delay, you get a different move set. It's a really, really cool weapon, but we're not going to use that. Okay, so now that we've done that and that boss is dead, we've got the Dragon Heart. Let's go get our painting solution, which I marked on the map in the previous section of the walkthrough. It should be right over here on this little hill right here. So the painter should be right over here. Yeah, right here. So this is the Incursion painting solution. And for the Incursion painting, we get the Serpent Crest shield, which reads a finely made red shield featuring an engraving of a winged serpent. Excels at guarding against fire. Said to have been made to commemorate the beginnings of the Crusade started by Mesmer, son of Marika. So this is sort of like a Mesmer kind of shield. It's really good against fire, or so it claims. The stats, it has a 63% fire reduction. I don't really know if that's that good. I mean, the Fingerprint Great Shield, or the Fingerprint Stone Shield, I think has a higher fire rating. Granted, that's a Great Shield and not a regular shield, but yeah. This has a 81% fire rating. I think it might be the highest of the normal shields, or the medium shields. I mean, this one has 63. Okay, 63 is a Serpent. Yeah, so maybe it is the best of the normal shields, but that Fingerprint Stone Shield, it's kind of unmatched. And the One-Eyed Shield is also really good against magic and fire. Okay, so now that that's done, let's go ahead and remove that marker. All right, and now our destination is going to be right here. This is going to be a dungeon. Dungeons or catacombs in this DLC are on the surface they're going to look the same as the base game, and what I mean by that is like these style caves of like the jail tunnel or the Gaol tunnel, abandoned cave. There's no mines in the DLC, but those are replaced with something else. But things like this, Celia Hideaway, these sort of cave dungeons are sort of all over the place in the Lands Between. In the Realm of Shadow, they're few and far between, and they are big. So they're like really kind of like full-fledged areas to explore. So I'm just going to quickly run around here, make sure there's no items that I haven't forgotten. And then we will go into that dungeon. I think we're good, though. If anything, it might be on this grave, but I don't remember anything being around here. Yep. All right. Cool. So, admittedly, I missed this dungeon my first time through. This is the only boss guide that I didn't make. That's because by the time I finally got to this place, I was, max level Shadow Tree Blessing, and I'd already beaten the DLC, and I killed this boss in like 3 hits. So I never bothered making a boss guide for this because I didn't think it'd be particularly helpful. Okay, so this is the Belurat Jail. Okay, let's rest at the site of grace and reset. Finally level up. I'm going to go to... Actually, no, I think 55 dex is the soft cap, right? Just look this up real quick. Dexterity, soft cap, Elden Ring. Uh, 60. Okay. 60 is the next soft cap. I think I'm actually okay with 55. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start putting points into endurance. I want to increase my endurance rating throughout this DLC. Okay, so this is the Belurat Jail. And like I said, this place is quite large. This is not your typical cave kind of dungeon here. This is something different. So it kind of extends underneath the entire Legacy dungeon, more or less, and there's quite a lot to do in here. Just be careful of ambushes, just like that. I feel like he kind of jumped through that wall. That didn't really feel fair. Whenever you come in here, into these sort of antechambers, just hold your shield up, because you don't want to get jumped by something. You Get a frozen maggot. Sometimes there's also frozen maggots on the floor. Frozen maggots are really just crafting materials. The maggots develop in Greatjar innards and are invaluable source of sustenance to the prisoners. So it's food to these prisoners, which is disgusting. All right, this is going to break. And then you'll notice all these blood stains. So let these guys kind of come to you. Don't get too close to that doorway yet. All right, now we can start going into the door. There's a blind spot in this room. And that's because of this guy. All right. Your silver horn tender. Old currency used by Hornsent, made by coating spiral horns with silver. Temporarily boosts item discovery. It can also be sold at a high price. These trinkets were once symbolic of society's upper echelons, but now no longer. Okay, we're going to come over here along this bridge. This guy's going to try to run at us. Oh, he took his time. Great. Go ahead and grab this item. Yet another frozen maggot. And then enter this room. So this room is where things begin to get a little weird. So we see all these big old pots. And the pots are actually... It's funny. In the base game, the pots are generally... I mean, there's a whole village of friendly pots, right? Like, they don't attack you. You've got Jar Baron there. But in the DLC, pots kind of have a different vibe. And we'll see that in a moment. But whenever you see a lot of pots or jars in the DLC areas, you want to get ready for a specific item type. Or enemy type, sorry. Thawfrost boluses. All right, and this ghost is going to tell us a little bit of lore. The ghost says, "Oh, please, not the jar, anything but that. I promise I won't ever do it again. I swear a living saint I'll surely be. Please, you must forgive me. Forgive me, please." So it seems like these prisoners are being stuffed into jars. And that gives the jars a whole new meaning in the realm of Shadow. And we'll learn more about that as we continue on. So, all right, let's go into this room. And here we go. So this is our first jar enemy. It sort of slithers out of the jar. And luckily this one isn't too strong. But if you notice that they stop reacting to your hits and are just sort of standing still, start blocking. Because they're going to do one of two attacks. It's either a grab attack or it's going to like explode into jar shards and both deal a ton of damage. So if you ever notice that they're no longer reacting to your hits and kind of like getting stunned, stop attacking them. All right, we get a Shadow Realm Rune level 3. Sometimes there's lore on these. The soldiers who joined the crusade were rewarded with grace aplenty. Okay, let's go ahead and kill these two guys. Great. And now what we got to do is we got to fall carefully. So these jars are basically platforms for us to use, but we want to fall on them in a specific order. So this first sequence is pretty easy. Jump onto this one, and then jump onto this one, but do not jump onto the one directly in front of it. So pick up the glass shard, and then you want to turn around and fall onto this one. And the reason for that is because there is a treasure chest on this platform. Hello, little guy. So sorry. It also makes you wonder, like, are the small jars child prisoners? A little unclear. All right, so this is an enemy right here. That's the grab attack. The grab actually comes a little late. So even if you get hit by that sort of, like, disgusting ejection, you can still dodge the grab. All right, so go ahead and open this chest. And inside is another Hefty cracked pot. So there are 3 Hefty cracked pots in this dungeon total. So once you're ready, drop back down, and then we have some little jar guys here. Ooh, the combo. Almost hit me with the Shoryuken. And then this big jar guy, who you can deal a lot of damage to before he even wakes up, so just go in on him. Okay, he explodes, you get his innards. And then I think that's it for this room. Oh, no, we got a couple of these guys. All right, so that's the explosion I was talking about. You want to really pay close attention to when they no longer react to your hits. That means that one of their attacks is coming. Okay, that jar just looked weird. Okie doke. Moving on. So we got this guy here. These guys are susceptible to backstabs, which is good to know. Okay. Okay, and then we can continue on down here. Of course, this is a bridge. Bridges are never easy. So just be on the lookout for any enemies. When these pots come running at you, you want to sort of bait them into jumping on you. And the reason for that is because you can't really deal much damage to them when they are still sort of covered by the pot. The pot is basically a gigantic shield for them. So you can bonk them. Like, you can deal some damage. And after they jump, the pot is breakable, but you can't always, like, just break the pot straight up. That's the grab when their arms go up. So just try to bait them into jumping at you, and then the pot should break. Okie doke. So that's that. And then this floor is going to break as well, this staircase. But we will be able to come back here for the items, so don't you worry. But we get dropped into a pot maze, and what I recommend doing is putting rainbow stones on your bar. And the reason for this is because you want to be able to leave yourself a trail of breadcrumbs and remember where you've been. All right, so this jar on our left is going to break. I said this jar on our left is going to break. Oh, God, come on. Thank you. Kill this guy. All right. So let's go to the left. Let's follow that trail. Okay, so let's leave a rainbow stone here. Yellow is the left turn. An item here. Level 6 smithing stone. All right, and then this is the exit. So we don't want to come here just yet. But this is the exit, so just remember that sort of jail gate opening. Let's turn right here. Nothing over here. Okay, that was the item that we got. Very good. Let's go back this way. And now we can come up here onto this sort of ledge that acts as sort of like a bridge. Okay, there are going to be some enemies lurking around corners. Yep, there's one. Perfect. Okay. All right, so this doesn't necessarily lead to anything, but notice that purple treasure there. That's kind of our destination. Over here. How dare you push me? Okay, now let's come up here. Oof. No damage because I jumped. I don't know why it didn't deal damage to me. Great. So now that we're on this pile here, we can grab some treasure. So we'll do a running jump over here. Grab another hefty cracked pot, but that's not it for the maze. There's actually still a bit left. So jump back over. And then we can start going this way to this enemy. Great. And then I am also going to leave a rainbow stone here. I'm going to leave two just to better mark it. So orange, yellow was the second area. Of course. So I know I mentioned this in the original guide, but if enemies ever have glowing eyes, it means they're going to drop more runes than they normally would. Okay, anything over here? I know there's also a cookbook down here and another cracked jar. Okay. Let's go further down here. This will bring us back towards the ledge, towards the open, towards the entrance of this maze. Yeah. Here's our third hefty cracked pot. Lost Ashes of War, and then I believe that there's a cookbook just hanging out on the ledge over here. No? And we're back at the entrance where we fell. I could have sworn that there was a cookbook. It might be upstairs. The 3 cracked jars is what I was most concerned for, though. Okay. Let's exit now. If we don't get the cookbook upstairs near the Greatjar, then I'm going to just quickly look it up. Okay. So let's come over here, where these guys are just sort of having a nice day, and we're going to kill them. Because we are monsters. Okay. And then the big boy gets angry. Because those are probably his children or something. But in reality, probably just like his fellow prisoners, right? Okay. That cracked jar is that. Yep. So just wait for it to actually aggro you before you jump across and try to kill it. Whoa. Very close to the edge there. These 2 enemies, we know. Yikes. Oh, man. Oh, man. It knew I was drinking. It knew. Okay. Oof. Unfortunately, we're in a dungeon, so we don't get the refills, which kind of stinks. All right, so this leads to the boss fog, so we don't want to go there just yet. Instead, what we want to do is we want to come over here to this hanging pot, and then this is basically going to act as an elevator. So just drop onto it carefully. And then once it reaches the top, it will begin to descend again. So just carefully jump onto here, jump onto this platform, and then we're going to come over here. We're going to do these jumps, and then this jump. Great. And now we're basically coming back up to the Greatjar. So this is where that staircase broke before. So now we finally have access to this area. We get the Greatjar Helm. I am going to look up the cookbook if we don't find it over here. I could have sworn there was a cookbook in this dungeon. Okay. Give me one quick second. Yeah, the level 11 Greater Potentate's cookbook is in here. Found within the jar labyrinth. Alright, it's next to a torch. Oh. Okay, let's go back to the jar labyrinth really quick. It's right next to a torch. I don't know how we missed this. Sorry about this. I knew there was a cookbook in there. Alright, so we go over here. And then if you press this switch, it summons the elevator to your level. And then we just got to catch it as it falls. Great. I didn't want to come all the way down. Okay, jump off. Let's quickly go back into the maze and get that cookbook. Very sorry about this. So it's near a torch, near one of the ramps. There's the exit. Let's go up this first ramp. Through here? Right here. Okay, okay, okay. So I'll show you how to get here. I'm going to leave behind a rainbow stone just to make this easier. Purple. Okay. So from the exit... Oops. Oh, can I not just jump back over? Yes, we can. Okay. Cool. So from the exit, right, we're going to turn back around. We're going to go left over this ramp and then just straight through. And then the cookbook is on a corpse right here. So that's Greater Potentate's Cookbook 11, which teaches us the Hefty freezing pot. All right. Very good. I'm glad we found that. I knew there was 3 Hefty cracked jars, and I knew there was a cookbook, but glad we found it. All right. So now let's go to the boss fog, which is just over here. We gotta do some platforming to get there. Nothing too crazy. Drop here. Jump, and drop here. Perfect. Okay. So the boss of this dungeon is a little demi-human with a really powerful sword that deals magic damage, but he can also block with the sword, and then when he blocks you, you kind of get stunned. It's kind of like a crystal sword. You get stunned as if you were hitting a crystallian with a non-strike weapon. So, let me see what level our flail is on this character. Oh, nice. It's at plus 25. So, let's go ahead and use our flail. Being totally honest, I may summon Teak for this just because I only have 5 flasks. All right, so this is Demi-Human Swordmaster Onze. Yeah, that Briar Armor comes in handy. So you can see there, it just deals a ton of damage to us. Whenever you see him teleporting in the air, all you got to do is roll to the right as soon as you see the blue magic. That's the stun. Okay, so the strike weapon doesn't get through the stun, but it at least deals a ton of damage to him. And the Briar Armor does interrupt him, which is really cool. Whoa! Oh, man, I'm spamming here. Oh my god, Briar Armor is so OP. Briar Armor is ridiculous. It just knocks people out of everything. I didn't even know he had a grab, but we knock him out of that too. Alright, that's Demi-Human Swordmaster Onze. Again, Briar Armor is really strong, and then whenever he blocks, just do not press anything, just go back to blocking when he blocks. This way you can block the follow-up attack. But you get the Demi-Human swordsman Yosh Spirit Ash, and Yosh was his master. So it says, Onze, a master swordsman who devoted himself to the Starline sword, realized that only ruin awaited at the end of the procession of stars and imprisoned himself in order to forestall it. However, Yosh, an apprentice who absorbed his technique... Oh, sorry, Yosh was the apprentice. Yosh, an apprentice who absorbed his technique, stubbornly refused to heed his master's words and spent entire his life at his side... That feels like a typo. In defiance of his self-imposed seclusion. Cool. All right, so that is the Belurat jail. And yeah, about 40 minutes. I figured it would take just about this long. Okay, so that's done. Let's go back to 3-Path Cross with Redmane, Freya, and Hornsent. And then we will discuss what we're going to do in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. So, back at the 3-Path Cross, we have done Southern Gravesite Plain, we've done Northern Gravesite Plain, now it's time to do Eastern Gravesite Plain. There's quite a lot here, believe it or not. It looks very small, but everything in the Realm of Shadow is compact. There's really not a whole lot of world traversal where you're not finding something, even though it is technically like a smaller map. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's an NPC over here that we're going to meet. He's like right over here. His name is Tialie. He has a very important quest line, so we're going to meet him. This is another legacy dungeon, Castle Ensis. We're not going to do it for another little while just because I want to do Belurat Tower Settlement first. But there is another... So there's basically 2 legacy dungeons in Gravesite Plain. There is a catacomb over here in this ravine. It's like, just say right there. We're going to do that. We can't get up onto this mountain just yet. We can't do that for a while. But perhaps most importantly is right over here, there is a dungeon called the Dragon's Pit. The Dragon's Pit is a cave dungeon, and when you kill the final boss, there's a back door that you can leave the dungeon through, and it leads to an entirely new area. So what we will do is we will kill that boss. We will get the Site of Grace in that next area, but we're not going to go to that next area for a very long time. I just want to make sure that we do that dungeon. This way we can say that we completed Gravesite Plain before moving out of it. So basically, to recap, we'll do the catacomb over here. We'll find a bunch of stuff in this area. We'll meet Tialie, and then we will do the Dragon's Pit dungeon as well. And there is also a forge right here. This is sort of like a mine. There's a lot of upgrade materials there in the form of smithing stones and somber smithing stones, but forges do not have bosses. Instead, when you activate the forge or you touch the forge flame or whatever, you get a really, really good item at the end. And they're just sort of like puzzle dungeons with tough enemies, but no actual boss. So yeah, that's going to be next time, but that's it for part 2. Let's just double check to see if we have any upgrades available. We do not. Oh, we do. Okay. Let's keep on going into endurance. Perfect. So we're going to leave it there. We are level 181 with a level 3 Shadow Tree Blessing and a level 2 Revered Spirit Ash Blessing, and those are our stats. So next time we'll do Eastern Gravesite Plain, and that'll probably be it for Gravesite Plain before we go into some legacy dungeons. But that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join my community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.